time you dress so fine, through the bumps of time in your pride, sitting young. People call and say beware, dog, you're bound to fall. You thought that they were all kidding you. Laugh about everybody that was hanging out. Now you don't talk so proud. Now you don't seem so proud about scrounging for your next meal. How does it feel on your own, like a complete unknown, like a rolling stone? Okay guys, today we're going to try to tackle Like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan, but we're going to look at it from more of the Jimi Hendrix perspective. And so I hope you guys enjoy the Jimi Hendrix one. They're a lot different than the original, which is Bob Dylan, but I think it's really, really good. It's fun to play on acoustic guitar, it's fun to play on an electric, especially if you have a Stratocaster. So let's just jump right into this, okay? So this song can be broken down really into three parts. It's kind of the intro, which is also the chorus. Then we've got the verse, and then we have got the kind of the pre-chorus. So let's go ahead and jump into that. That lick has nothing to do with it because it's not in the right key. Alright, so let's start with the intro, and then subsequently this will also be what we use for the choruses. Okay, so the intro is really easy. It's actually just three chords. It's an A chord, and then a D chord, into an E chord. Now what I hear a lot, like with Hendrix, or even if you ever watch like the John Mayer cover of it, they hit on with their middle finger before they go into the E chord. They're gonna hit, go all the way down to the 12th fret on the low E, and they strum that E chord. Okay, and then you've got this cool little going into verses here. So what that is, let me move my middle finger so you can see this better, is you're gonna bar the 7th fret of the B and the high E. Then you're going to use your ring finger to do the G of the 9th fret. And then you're going to hammer on and pull off with your pinky the 9th fret of the B string, and you're pulling off to where you're already holding that down with the 7th fret of the B string. So you got... That's going to be your intro, but it's also going to be every time you do the chorus, okay? So we've got the first part down. Second part's probably the hardest part because it's going to require some of those Hendrixy chords, okay? So, bare bones of it, let's just do that first, okay? So you just want to like strum along for a little bit before you're ready to do these. You've got an A, a B minor, a C sharp minor, a D, and an E. So that's like the bare bones of it if you just wanted to like strum along. If you want to do like the Hendrixy kind of stuff, here's what we got to do. So for our A chord, we're going to use our thumb, we're going to wrap around, grab the 5th fret of the low E, and use our pointer finger. We're going to bar the 5th fret of the high E and the B. Our middle finger is going to go on the G string of the 6th fret, and then our ring finger is going to go 7th fret of the D string. We're going to strum it down. We're going to hit the low E, and then we're going to strum it down. And when we do, we're going to hammer on with our pinky to the 7th fret of the G, and then pull off real quick to that 6th fret of the G. So that's all you're going to do. Once upon a time you dressed. So then we're going to do a B minor. And the way I'm doing this is you're barring with your pointer finger, you're barring from the D all the way to the high E of the 7th fret. wrapping your thumb around, grabbing the 7th fret of low E, and then what you're going to do, you strum it down. You're going to hammer on to the 9th fret of the G, pull off the 7th fret of the G, and then hammer on to the 7th fret of the D. So it's, and then you're going to do the same thing, but now we're going to go, everything's going to be taken up 2 frets to our C sharp minor. Okay, so that would be hammering on to the 11th fret of the G string, pulling off to the 9th, hammering on to the 11th of the D, and then we're going to do a D chord. So then this D chord is the same one we did with the A chord all the way up here. It's just going to be up here where we're barring the 10th of the B and the high E. Middle finger's going on the 11th of the G, ring finger's going on the 12th of the D, and then we're getting our thumb to wrap around to the root note, which is the low E on the 10th fret, and throwing our pinky down. And then when we go to the E, so we go, okay, so when we go to the E, what we're going to do here is we're going to play an open E string, and then we're going to bar with our pointer finger the A, D, and G strings of the 9th fret, and then we're going to hammer on with our ring finger and pull off from that 11th fret of the A. So it's like, and what I also like to throw in here is the first time you go through the verse, not before you're about to go into the pre-chorus. So we've got, it's kind of like a little octave there. And so what that is, and this is optional, you could just land on that before you're ready to do that again, but you can do this where you play your low E string, you keep the bar on the 9th fret of the A, D, and G, but then you're going to use your ring finger and grab the 11th fret of the G, and then strum it, and after you strum it, you slide down to where you're barring with your pointer finger, you're barring the 11th fret of the A, D, and G, and your ring finger's going on the 13th of the G, and you go back to that first one you did, and then down 2 frets again, where you're going to then play, you're barring the 7th fret of the A, D, and G, then your ring finger's going on the 9th of the G. So it sounds like this. So go. And then you're ready to go right back and repeat that. Okay, repeat that whole thing that you just did again. So let's do that a little slow. So it'd be, once upon a time, you dressed so fine. You threw the bombs of time in your prime. 10 years. Okay, and then you're gonna repeat that. Just camp out on that. What you can do, just when you're camping on that E, is alternate from hammering on to the 11th fret of the D string this time, and the 11th fret of the A string. So go. Okay, and then you're ready to go into the pre-chorus. Pre-chorus is pretty easy. The way I do it is a power chord D. So what that is you got your first finger is going to go on the 5th fret of the A string, your ring finger is going on the 7th fret of the D string, and your pinky's going on the 7th fret of the G string, so it's you used to. Alright, and then you're going to ring that all up 2 frets for your E power chord, laugh about, and go back to the D. Everybody that was hanging out. And then you go back to E, okay, and then the only change up here is kind of like another walk up. It's almost like what we did in the verses, but we're just gonna cut the A chord, because then we're gonna, and now you don't, B minor, C sharp minor, D, laugh so proud, and then you can do that again. Don't, you're next, scrounging, whatever it is, you're next, you're gonna vamp up on that D. You can do an E in 2 ways. You can go back to what we were doing, or you can just take that D, and if you really want to, you can slide it down 2 frets, So that would be the 12th fret of the B string. I'm actually going to keep the high E open. I'm going to go 12th fret of the B string, 13th fret with your middle finger of the G string, and then the 14th fret using your ring finger of the D string and wrapping your thumb around. Or you can do that bar that we did, okay? And then you're going right into the chorus, which remember is the same thing as the intro, right? It's A, D, G, or E, sorry. And these are open chords. And then when you're ready to go into another verse, our intro that we learned there. So that's the whole song, and kind of doing it the Hendrixy way. If you wanted to just play it straight chords, you could, right? It doesn't sound bad, right? Once upon a time, you dressed so fine, you threw the bumps of time in your pride. Didn't you? So you can play it either way, but it's a very, very cool song, and it sounds like it's a little bit more intimidating than it is, but I think once you get to playing it, you'll see it's not as scary as it sounds. So I hope that helps. Let me know in the comments below.